The year is 3204 in the northern Divine Region's Baidi city. Dark clouds loom overhead, and thunder rumbles across the sky. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure floats in midair, surrounded by crackling lightning. This man is our protagonist, Subai. He stands in the heart of the storm, enduring the divine thunder in hopes of ascending to immortality and entering the land of immortals. Unbeknownst to Subai, danger approaches. A female cultivator, standing upon a lotus flower, prepares a powerful divine thunder technique. With her sword raised, she launches a strike aimed directly at Subai. At the last moment, Subai manages to dodge. Though he avoids a fatal blow, the attack injures him, and he plummets to the ground. The woman descends and points her sword at him, demanding his surrender. She is Lin Wanqiu, one of Subai's own disciples. Subai, shocked and furious, can't believe that his loyal disciple would betray him. Outraged, he prepares a lethal counterattack, but before he can strike, another disciple, Bai Yuyu, launches a sneak attack from behind, piercing a hole through Subai's chest. Bai Yuyu then turns to Lin Wanqiu and insists that, despite their master's many sins, they should at least let him die with some dignity. Subai, gravely wounded, can only laugh at the betrayal. He had never treated his disciples unfairly. How could they do this to him? Enraged, he vows that he will not die alone. If he goes down, he will take them with him. Just as he is about to unleash another technique, a third disciple named Xuer activates the falling treasure copper coin, slamming Subai into the ground. He lies there, immobilized, stunned that even Xuer would side against him. Two other disciples, the eldest and the fifth, are missing, and Subai wonders about their absence. Xuer commands her master not to resist, blaming him for countless crimes that cannot be forgiven, and warning him not to blame anyone else for his fate. Hearing this, Subai only laughs and asks if they truly believe the false charges against him. But now that they have drawn their blades against him, he cannot forgive them. In desperation, Subai uses the Divine Soul's true body, law of heaven and earth technique, a self-destruction meant to drag his enemies into death with him. Realizing his intention too late, Lin Wanqiu and the others rush to stop him. She frantically asks Bai Yuyu if their senior brother, Heisayo, has a backup plan, because the situation has spiraled beyond control. Regardless of their efforts, they fail to prevent the inevitable. Subai detonates his own soul's true body, obliterating himself, his disciples, and half of the continent in the cataclysmic blast. But that is not the end. When Subai next opens his eyes, he finds himself in a strange, unfamiliar place. As he tries to make sense of his surroundings, he hears frantic noises outside. Peering through a window, he sees a world overrun by a zombie apocalypse, with people fleeing for their lives as hordes of the undead roam the streets. Realizing he has been reborn, Subai's thoughts turn back to his traitorous disciples. Why would they betray him? What did they stand to gain? For now, those questions must wait. His priority is to train this new body to its peak, return to the world of immortal cultivation, and make his former disciples pay for what they did. He attempts to gather spiritual energy as he once did. His cultivation had been close to the immortal realm, so if he can just sense the ambient spirit power, he should be able to progress swiftly. Yet to his shock, he feels nothing. Thinking his body might be too weak, he looks outside again and realizes the truth. This world has no spiritual power at all. Furious, he could hardly believe it. How is this possible? Without spiritual power, there was no way for him to cultivate in this world. In fact, merely surviving here would already be extremely difficult. Just then, a man and a woman burst into the house, having barely escaped from the zombies outside. They looked terrified, as though they had nearly died. The yellow-haired boy immediately grabbed the woman. Another person, possibly named Vertical, tried to stop him, warning that her boyfriend might still be in the house, and that it would be bad if they were seen. The yellow-haired boy scoffed, telling her not to worry. Even if her boyfriend saw them, there was nothing he could do. As he removed his clothes, the woman suddenly noticed a bite mark on his arm, and asked how he got wounded. The boy shrugged it off, saying he might have been bitten by those crazed people on the street, and insisting it was nothing serious. They continued their business until, abruptly, the woman realized the boy had gone still. She asked him what was wrong, urging him to continue, but to her horror, he had turned into a zombie and attacked her. She struggled, barely managing to push him away. Meanwhile, Subai heard the commotion and wondered if someone else was in the house. Searching through the memories of his new body, he recalled that the woman was supposed to be his girlfriend, and the yellow-haired boy was her lover. Subai smiled bitterly, realizing that the original owner of this body had also been betrayed by those closest to him. Opening the door, Subai saw the now zombified boy lunging at the screaming woman. She noticed Subai and begged for help. He stared at her coldly, said nothing, and watched as the zombie tore into her flesh. Then, without a word, he closed the door behind him, thinking, serves her right. In a world with no spiritual power, Subai knew he had to find a way to survive. Otherwise, he might die here before ever returning to his original world. Sitting on the floor, he tried to retrieve something, anything, from his sea of consciousness that could save his life. Yet with his current cultivation level, advanced magic items like the 9 Changes Spirit Pellet were beyond reach. All he could do was rely on luck and hope for the best. Finally, he pulled out a low-level magic weapon, the 10,000 Souls banner. Subai was disappointed. How could he have ended up with such a low-level magic weapon? He had hoped to retrieve something that could truly save his life in this chaotic world. Just as his frustration peaked, a blue window suddenly appeared before him. System prompt. It has been detected that the host has obtained the magic weapon 10,000 Souls banner. The host is now bound to the 10,000 Souls banner system. Current system level 1. Capacity 10 souls. Upgrade requirement to level 2. Hunt down an elementary mutant. Curious, Subai wondered what sort of system this could be, especially attached to a mere low-level weapon like the 10,000 Souls banner. As far as he remembered, the banner's only function had been to collect souls. The system then explained that by using the 10,000 Souls banner, he could harvest the souls of the dead, convert their soul power into spiritual power, and feed it back to himself. The higher the banner's level, the stronger the souls it could collect, and thus the more spiritual power Subai would gain in return. There was a catch. Any person who had been dead for more than 5 minutes would have a soul that completely vanished, rendering it uncollectible. Subai smiled. So it really is possible to transform soul power into spiritual power. Even if this world lacked natural spiritual energy, he realized that, with zombies everywhere, there was no shortage of materials to harvest for cultivation. He remembered the girlfriend who had betrayed him and the yellow-haired boy, both now zombies, banging on the door. Subai opened it, and the 2 zombies lunged at him. He swiftly killed them with the 10,000 Souls banner, but to his surprise, they continued moving even after he attacked. At that moment, he activated the banner's true power, collecting their souls and converting them into spiritual energy. Subai was amazed to feel a breakthrough in his cultivation almost immediately. After absorbing their souls, he now had 2 controllable souls at his command, and his spiritual power had grown noticeably stronger. He couldn't help but smile. Despite its humble appearance, the 10,000 Souls banner had proven to be far more powerful than he ever imagined. Sometime later, outside, people were running in all directions, desperately searching for any safe place to hide. In the midst of this chaos, Subai was also looking for supplies. His body was still too weak. I can't do much cultivation in this condition, he thought. First, I need to find some supplies, then consider upgrading the 10,000 Souls banner. Suddenly, a group of zombies perched atop a nearby building heard the commotion below and leaped down into the fleeing crowd. Among them was a plump, blonde-haired woman who panicked upon seeing the zombies heading toward her. In a desperate attempt to save herself, she grabbed another woman from the crowd and threw her at the zombies, using the poor victim as a human shield. Subai happened to witness this horrifying act, and was shocked to recognize that the woman who'd been thrown to the zombies looked exactly like Lin Wangqiu, one of his disciples who had once betrayed him. Furious and confused about her presence here, he quickly summoned the 10,000 Souls banner and killed the zombies attacking her. Lin Wangqiu gasped with relief, grateful to be rescued. How did you end up here? Subai demanded, glaring at her. Not long ago you used the Divine Thunder technique on me, forcing me into a wretched state. Now you can't even protect yourself from a handful of low-level monsters. He could scarcely believe that his former disciple, who had once caused him so much trouble, was now so weak. Yet Lin Wangqiu only stared at him in bewilderment. She had no idea who he was or what he was talking about, and she couldn't understand how he already knew her name when, to her knowledge, they had never met. Standing up, she thanked Subai for saving her life and asked if they had met before. Incensed, Subai pointed his spear at her. Don't pretend to be crazy. You won't get away by feigning ignorance. Startled, Lin Wangqiu tried to calm him. This isn't the time for wild accusations. There are more monsters nearby. We should leave and find somewhere safe. Hearing her words, Subai hesitated. Did I get the wrong person? He wondered. Or is she simply not the Lin Wangqiu I once knew? Subai still found it difficult to believe that the woman before him wasn't the traitorous disciple he remembered. She looked identical to Lin Wangqiu, and he was sure he would never mistake her face. Unless, he thought, unless coming to this world caused her to lose her memories. As he moved closer, hoping to investigate, Su Bai's stomach growled. Lin Wangqiu smiled at the sound, and mentioned there was a large shopping mall not far away. She planned to gather supplies there and possibly take refuge. She invited Su Bai to join her, and although he hesitated briefly, he eventually agreed, if only to see for himself whether or not she was truly the same Lin Wangqiu. Gripping his hand, Lin Wangqiu urged him to hurry so they could stock up on supplies and wait for rescue. Su Bai followed her, still torn between suspicion and curiosity. Even if she really has lost her memories, he thought, her betrayal remains. Sooner or later, she'll pay for it. After half an hour, they reached the entrance of a Walmart supermarket. While standing at the front doors, Lin Wangqiu asked for Su Bai's name. Hearing this, Su Bai realized she truly seemed unaware of who he was. She wasn't faking her confusion at all. He refused to let his guard down. Stepping past her, he answered curtly, "Su Bai." Following a brief introduction, Lin Wangqiu invited him to head inside. She suggested they use the store's resources and wait for rescue. But to their surprise, the supermarket was already crawling with zombies, and not just ordinary ones. Among them was a mutated zombie that stood out. It kept mumbling phrases like, "Apply for a card, get 50% off," before slaughtering several normal zombies in its path. Then it charged straight at Su Bai. Su Bai smirked as he felt the creature's aura. It's probably at the initial stage of the spiritual sea realm, he realized. That must be an elementary mutant. Lin Wangqiu, terrified, hid behind him, urging him to retreat and find safety elsewhere. But Su Bai saw this as an opportunity, not a threat. A sacrifice that could help him upgrade his 10,000 souls banner to level 2. Summoning the banner, he commanded 2 zombie slaves he controlled to attack the mutant. The supermarket erupted into chaos as his zombies clashed with the others, killing them one by one. However, the mutated zombie soon noticed Su Bai's slaves and charged in to attack. Su Bai quickly ordered them to pull back, but the mutant was too quick and killed one of his zombie slaves. Seeing an opening, Su Bai launched a sneak attack from behind. At the same time, his remaining slave, a female zombie, leaped onto the mutant's back and bit into its neck. The mutated zombie roared in pain. Su Bai quickly ordered his slave zombie to slam it into the ground, knocking it unconscious. Then, he activated the 10,000 souls banner to absorb its soul, making it his newest slave. Right after absorbing the mutated zombie, a system window appeared before him. System prompt: "Congratulations on defeating an elementary zombie. The 10,000 souls banner has been upgraded to level 2. New capacity 5 additional souls. Next upgrade requirement: hunt down an advanced zombie, a foundation stage beast." Su Bai frowned at the new requirement. "My current cultivation is still at the spiritual sea realm. To defeat a foundation stage beast, I'll need to absorb more spiritual power first." Meanwhile, Lin Wangqiu was awestruck by Su Bai's display of strength. She had originally dismissed him as some crazed individual, never imagining he was this powerful. Watching her childish admiration, Su Bai found it hard to believe she could be the same disciple who had once betrayed him and nearly ended his life. With the mutated zombie defeated, the survivors who had been hiding in the supermarket cautiously emerged. Relieved that the threat was gone, they began redistributing supplies and preparing to wait for rescue in relative safety. There seemed to be enough resources to sustain them for a while. Lin Wangqiu turned to Su Bai, pointing out how large the stockpile of supplies was. "If we use this wisely, we can stay hidden in a safe place until the rescue team arrives," she suggested. However, the other survivors were not so welcoming. One man stepped forward, glaring at Lin Wangqiu and Su Bai. "This is our territory," he declared. "You can't just help yourselves to our supplies without our permission." Several others quickly agreed with him, insisting that they had risked their lives to gather everything during the chaos. They weren't about to let newcomers take advantage of their hard work. Lin Wangqiu bristled at their accusations and shouted back, "If Mr. Su Bai hadn't killed that mutated zombie, all of you would have been sitting ducks, waiting to die. Now you want to claim these supplies for yourselves and ignore the fact that he saved your lives." However, they didn't believe him. They said he was as thin as a bamboo pole. How could someone like that kill a monster? In their opinion, the monsters must have killed each other. Lin Wangqiu shouted, unable to believe how shameless those people were. Before she could say anything more, Su Bai stopped her and warned her not to argue with mindless people, reminding her that words alone wouldn't change anything. Lin Wangqiu looked at Su Bai and insisted that he was the one who had obviously defeated those monsters. She couldn't let anyone else take advantage of his hard work. Su Bai simply smiled and said, "Only the weak use such petty tricks. The strong are always right." He cast a cold gaze over the crowd and announced that he needed supplies, asking who was in favor and who was against it. They all opposed him, telling Subai there were many of them, and only one of him, so he couldn't win. They advised him to leave peacefully, hinting that if he angered them, they wouldn't be responsible for what might happen. Subai only smiled and said that if he couldn't get supplies peacefully, he would have no choice but to kill them. Once they were dead, all the supplies would be his. He summoned his mutated zombies and ordered them to attack. Terrified, the crowd begged Subai to spare them, promising he could take all the supplies he wanted as long as they could keep their lives. But he didn't care. He killed those who had threatened him. The rest fled in terror, trying to save themselves. Standing confidently, Subai asked if anyone else wanted to stop him. No one dared say a word. They stood silently, too afraid to even lift their heads. Then Subai turned to Lin Wangqiu and told her to take whatever she wanted. No one would dare oppose them now. She nodded and began collecting supplies. After stuffing her bag, she asked if Subai needed anything. He smiled and said that in return for saving her, all he wanted was help carrying some supplies. Secretly, he was testing her to see if she really had amnesia, or was only pretending. Lin Wangqiu agreed, packing his share of the supplies. Subai was confused. He didn't know if she really was his disciple Lin Wangqiu, or if he himself had lost his memory. After a few minutes, she finished packing and asked whether they should stay and wait for rescue or head elsewhere. Subai turned to leave, saying he planned to look for stronger zombies to hunt. All she needed to do was follow him with the supplies. Lin Wangqiu nodded and followed him. Once they were gone, everyone else breathed a sigh of relief. Even so, they couldn't believe Subai had dared to kill people so casually. They agreed to report him to the authorities if rescue ever came, insisting that someone like him should be brought to justice. But now that he was gone, they gathered around what remained of the supplies, dividing them up as quickly as possible before any other danger appeared. In the midst of their squabbling, oblivious to the threat looming behind them, Subai's 2 zombie servants crept up, ready to attack. Just then, one man in the crowd noticed the zombies and freaked out, running as fast as he could to save himself. Unfortunately, it was already too late. The zombies charged forward and took down everyone one by one. A blonde, overweight woman remained alive for a moment, terrified and pleading for help, but the zombies spotted her and crushed her head underfoot. Once the massacre ended, Subai gathered their souls and converted them into spiritual power. He knew leaving survivors would only cause him trouble in the future. Now that he could control 3 undead, Subai felt a bit safer. He was well aware that if he ever had to face more than 10 zombies at once, he'd have no choice but to retreat. Until his level rose, he would keep a low profile. Meanwhile, Lin Wangqiu, who had been following him, was exhausted. She asked if they could rest somewhere, but Subai told her he had no time to waste. If she slowed him down, he would leave her behind. Embarrassed, Lin Wangqiu insisted that she believed Mr. Subai would never abandon her. He smiled and asked why she was so sure, reminding her that they were strangers, and he could do as he pleased. Lin Wangqiu confidently replied that she knew the location of the powerful zombie he was looking for. Intrigued, Subai asked how she knew. Lin Wangqiu explained that, back at her university, she fled the campus after spotting a strange creature near the lake. It gave off an unusual scent, and she was certain it was dangerous. Nervously, she admitted she wasn't sure it was the advanced zombie Subai sought, but it certainly seemed formidable. Hearing this, Subai reasoned that if it was anything like the mutant beast in the supermarket, it was worth investigating. He told Lin Wangqiu to lead the way. Pleased that he believed her, Lin Wangqiu happily guided him toward the campus. Sometime later, the 2 of them finally reached their destination, but the campus was overrun with zombies. Lin Wangqiu stopped, scanning the surroundings anxiously. Seeing her hesitate, Subai asked why she had stopped yet again. Lin Wangqiu whispered for him to lower his voice. So many people at the school had turned into those creatures, and if they accidentally drew attention, they'd be in huge trouble. Subai told her not to worry, declaring he would handle the situation. He summoned his zombie servants and ordered them to clear a path. Lin Wangqiu, concerned, warned him they should do this quietly instead of being so reckless. But Subai ignored her protests, wondering what had happened to the world to turn so many humans into these half-human, half-ghost monsters. Suddenly, they heard noises behind them. Lin Wangqiu recognized the voices. It sounded like her classmates. They had ventured outside for supplies but were now trapped among the campus zombies. One of her classmates, terrified, hurled his weapon at a charging zombie, but missed. The zombie kept coming, yet another student arrived just in time and killed it. The student who saved him then grabbed the frightened boy, urging him to run back and regroup, because these monsters were way beyond their league. Lin Wangqiu realized these 2 were Gu Ming and Li Mingxuan, her classmates, though she couldn't fathom why they would be here of all places. Subai noticed her reaction and asked if she knew them. When Lin Wanqiu admitted they were her schoolmates, he turned to her and said, "Do you want me to save them or not?" Lin Wanqiu held Subai's hand and said, "While they're distracting the monsters, we can escape quickly. If the monsters spot us, we won't be able to leave." Subai then asked her, "Don't you want to save them? They're your classmates, aren't they?" Lin Wanqiu replied, "If I could help them, I would. But right now, I can't risk your life." Upon hearing this, Subai realized that if she had been the treacherous disciple from his past, she would never have said such a thing. She truly seemed to be just an ordinary girl. However, before they could leave, the very thing Lin Wanqiu feared happened. Her classmates noticed her and called out for help. Lin Wanqiu became furious. She couldn't believe that Li Mingxuan, one of her classmates, was desperately shouting amid so many zombies, potentially dragging them all down with him. All the noise quickly drew the zombies' attention. Panicking, Lin Wanqiu burst into tears and apologized to Subai for getting him involved. In response, Subai summoned his enslaved zombies to fight. Boasting that he had once slain the 9th demon lord of the underworld, he declared that these lowly undead were not worthy opponents. Although his summoned zombies managed to kill many of them, there were simply too many. Subai lost 2 of his contracted zombies, and his mutated zombie was also in trouble. He realized that dealing with 10 zombies at once was already his limit given his current strength. If they wanted to turn the tide and survive, he needed to lure some of the zombies away. He asked Lin Wanqiu if there was anything nearby that could produce a loud sound. Lin Wanqiu remembered her smartphone and handed it to Subai, who had never seen such a device before. He was baffled by the idea that a small box could make a loud noise. Instead of explaining, Lin Wanqiu simply turned on the phone's music. Subai was astonished by how loud the sound was coming from what he called a small metal box. Drawn by the blaring music, many of the zombies attacking the mutated zombie turned their attention towards Subai. Overjoyed by this new magical tool, he threw the smartphone to his mutated zombie slave. The mutated zombie caught the phone and started running, drawing most of the horde away. With so many zombies in pursuit of the mutated zombie, Subai and his remaining undead were free to dispatch the remaining threats one by one. Lin Wanqiu was amazed that such a simple trick had worked. However, Subai grabbed her hand and reminded her they had no time to celebrate. They needed to leave before more zombies arrived. Moments later, both of them managed to escape safely to the classroom building. Once they were out of danger, Lin Wanqiu thanked Subai again for saving her life. She admitted that without him, she would never have made it this far. Subai replied that it was no big deal. She had helped him locate an advanced zombie, and in return, he had saved her. Both of them benefited. Not long after, Lin Wanqiu's classmates also managed to escape safely, thanks to Subai's zombies having distracted and slain most of the undead. However, they quickly noticed that Lin Wanqiu was carrying a large bag of supplies. They were thrilled to see Lin Wanqiu return with so many supplies. With that amount, they believed they could wait for a rescue team to arrive. However, Lin Wanqiu scoffed and reminded everyone that these supplies were obtained by Mr. Subai, and she had no right to distribute them on his behalf. Li Mingxuan was furious. He told Lin Wanqiu that there was no point in distinguishing yours and his in a crisis like this. Other students also needed these supplies to survive. Another one of Lin Wanqiu's classmates, sensing the tense atmosphere, stepped in and suggested they all stop arguing and return to the classroom first. They could decide how to distribute the supplies once they were somewhere safer. Turning to Subai, he also invited him to join them, saying they should all stick together in times like these. Subai and Lin Wanqiu followed them back to the classroom. On the way, Lin Wanqiu apologized to Subai for the trouble, but assured him that she would not let anyone touch his share of the supplies. Subai told her not to worry. His only goal was to find the advanced zombie. Still, he asked how she could be certain these people would listen to her. She replied that there were many teachers among the survivors, so nobody would dare do anything extreme. Subai simply smiled and said they had better behave, or he couldn't guarantee their safety. Meanwhile, the bold student whispered to Li Mingxuan that he had seen the bag was full of food. With so many supplies, they could sustain themselves for at least a month until rescue arrived. Li Mingxuan nodded, but worried that Lin Wanqiu wouldn't agree. And then there was also the matter of Subai. Another student chimed in, saying that now they were back on their territory, Lin Wanqiu and Subai couldn't simply refuse. If they cooperated, they might receive something in return. If not, they would have to deal with them the hard way. Moments later, they arrived at the classroom door. Li Mingxuan called out to the teacher to open up, announcing they had brought supplies. The teacher, relieved to see them safe, invited everyone inside and asked for the supplies to be handed out. As Subai entered, he noticed that many survivors were present. They had managed to avoid the zombies so far, perhaps because the undead hadn't swarmed this area yet. The same bold student pressed Lin Wangqiu to distribute the supplies right away, complaining that they hadn't eaten anything for 3 days. Gritting her teeth in frustration, Lin Wangqiu said she would only give out half. Mr. Su Bai owned the other half, and they had no right to touch it. Li Mingxuan scoffed and asked why a single person needed so much food. He offered to buy Su Bai's share at 10 times the market price. Looking at Su Bai, he asked if he minded selling. Su Bai smiled and agreed. In that moment, Li Mingxuan tried to claim all of Lin Wangqiu's supplies, forgetting that Su Bai was no pushover. Su Bai promptly summoned his mutated zombie slave, ready to attack Li Mingxuan. Seeing the monster appear inside the classroom, everyone panicked and scrambled for safety. Only then did they realize the zombie seemed to be under Su Bai's control. Su Bai grabbed Li Mingxuan by the collar and snarled that, because of Li Mingxuan's earlier actions, he had lost 2 undead minions. Yet Li Mingxuan still dared to demand Su Bai's supplies. Li Mingxuan apologized profusely and begged for his life. Su Bai asked, "Should I kill you, or should I take your soul to make up for my losses?" Terrified, Li Mingxuan pleaded with his classmates Zhang Hao and Gu Ming to intercede, since they were the ones who had come up with the plan in the first place. Zhang Hao and Gu Ming quickly denied any involvement, insisting it was all Li Mingxuan's idea, and that he alone should bear the blame. Li Mingxuan was shocked at the betrayal, cursing them for abandoning him. He turned to Lin Wangqiu, begging her to ask Su Bai to spare him. He promised he would never try to steal supplies again. Su Bai was curious how Lin Wangqiu would react. Surprisingly, she apologized on Li Mingxuan's behalf and asked Su Bai to forgive him just this once for everyone's sake. She said they could take her share of the supplies, but no one was to touch Su Bai's. Watching her selfless behavior, Su Bai realized that she truly might not be the treacherous disciple he once knew, despite her resemblance. Deciding he no longer needed to keep her close, he told Lin Wangqiu that, now that she had found her companions, it was time for him to leave and continue searching for the advanced zombie. But Lin Wangqiu stopped him, claiming that she knew where the creature he was seeking might be. When Su Bai asked if she had actually seen it, she said no, but she could sense a terrifying presence somewhere in the school. This startled Su Bai. Her ability to sense spiritual power suggested an innate spiritual physique. He was astonished because, to his knowledge, no one else in the world had such a physique except his lost disciple. Could she truly be that woman, suffering from memory loss, or was there some other explanation? In the original cultivation realm, before Su Bai was betrayed by his disciples, Lin Wangqiu approached him, requesting to become his disciple. In response, Su Bai told her that he would only accept her if she found something for him first. Lin Wangqiu successfully found what Su Bai had asked for, and returned, requesting again to be accepted as his disciple. When Su Bai asked how she managed to locate it, Lin Wangqiu respectfully bowed before him and replied, "I was born with the ability to track and trace. If you accept me as your disciple, I will be the sword in your hand. I will never let you down." Seeing her determination, Su Bai accepted her as his second disciple. With her innate spiritual physique, her future achievements would not fall short of his own. However, Lin Wangqiu humbly told him, "My life was saved by you. I would never dream of surpassing you. I only wish to serve by your side and ease your burdens." Su Bai walked up to her and said, "Stop calling me senior. Now that you're my disciple, you should call me master." That was the moment Su Bai learned that Lin Wangqiu possessed the innate spiritual physique. Although he wasn't sure how she had lost her past memories, for him, it didn't matter. He was still planning to kill her. He extended his hand to capture her soul and make her his servant, dooming her to eternal soul refinement. But suddenly, Lin Wangqiu grabbed Su Bai's hand and urgently warned, "That thing I've been sensing, it's really coming this way. We must leave now before it's too late." Hearing this, Su Bai fell silent. Then, in the next moment, he burst into laughter like a madman, shocking everyone in the room. He thought to himself, "I nearly killed her just now. But this is an innate spiritual physique, a one-of-a-kind rare body. Killing her outright would be such a waste. Rather than that, I'll treat her as a chess piece. Once she outlives her usefulness, I won't shortchange her. She'll have her own place inside the soul banner." Meanwhile, the mutated monster Lin Wangqiu had warned about approached the building. It had sensed Su Bai's spiritual energy and followed it here, to where Su Bai and the others were gathered. This mutated creature was intelligent, and it had recently been lucky enough to absorb a trace of spiritual energy to recharge its core. If not for that, it too would have eventually turned into one of those half-human, half-ghost abominations. When it detected the presence of spiritual energy in this barren world, it was thrilled. Finally, a chance to break through to the next realm. Standing in front of the university building, the mutated beast looked up, then leaped straight through the upper floor. crashing into the room where Subai and the others were. Seeing the creature, Subai thought, is this the powerful entity Lin Wangqiu mentioned? A mutated snake demon? But as he observed it more closely, something felt off. This mutated beast's aura, it felt familiar. The students in the room panicked, screaming and trying to escape, but to their horror, the door was locked. They couldn't get out. Lin Wangqiu pointed at the beast and exclaimed, "This is the same creature I saw by the man-made lake. It has the same aura I've been sensing all this time." Subai was surprised. This mutated snake demon, it actually possesses spiritual energy? This isn't some ordinary mutant. This is a demon beast from the cultivation realm. But then he wondered, why would such a creature appear in a place like this? The mutated snake demon sneered and spoke. "Even though this world lacks spiritual energy and is crawling with ghostly pests, it's far more fun than that wretched cultivation realm. I can feast on humans freely here, without interference from those damned cultivators." It grabbed one of the students to devour. The terrified student cried for help. The teacher, Bai Ling, turned to Lin Wangqiu and begged her to ask Subai to save the students. If he can protect them, she will do anything he asks. Subai glanced at her coldly and said, "Whether I can or not is beside the point. What do their lives have to do with me?" Still desperate, the teacher pleaded, "I'll pay you a lot of money. Just save them." But Subai rejected her offer. "I'm not interested in money. Don't worry. Once you're all dead, I'll collect your souls." As the snake demon devoured the student, Subai ordered his mutated zombie to attack. The zombie leapt into the air and struck from behind, knocking the mutated snake demon to the ground. As the beast lay unconscious, the zombie jumped on top of it to finish it off. But suddenly, the snake demon's eyes flew open. It extended its tongue, wrapping it tightly around Subai's zombie. Staring at Subai, it said, "I knew it. My nose wasn't wrong. There really is spiritual energy here. Unbelievable. A cultivator in this world? Their strength may be weak, but it's enough." Just as it grew excited, Subai's zombie kicked its mouth, freeing itself from the demon's tongue grip. Subai smirked. "So the mutated snake demon is coming for me after sensing my spiritual energy? Doesn't matter. I'll just take it down." A monster in the foundation stage. In the past, this kind of trash wouldn't have been worthy of Subai's attention. But now, when his cultivation is only at the spiritual sea realm, he had to be more cautious. These people, killing them and refining their souls might just be enough for him to break through. Turning to them, he coldly announced, "Unfortunately, in my current condition, I can't handle that thing. You're all on your own. If you're willing to join my 10,000 souls banner and help me break through, there may be a sliver of hope." He smirked, saying, "Of course you can refuse. But if you do, I'll leave, and no one can stop me. What happens after that won't be my responsibility." Everyone sat frozen in silence, terrified. No one dared to speak. Seeing that no one was willing to sacrifice themselves, Subai turned to leave. Lin Wangqiu tried to stop him, but before she could, her teacher, Li, stepped forward and said, "I'll sacrifice myself. In exchange, please take my students to safety." At that moment, Subai noticed a glowing purple crystal hanging around teacher Li's neck. His eyes narrowed, realizing that, a spiritual stone. He grabbed the crystal and asked coldly, "Where did you get this?" Teacher Li hesitated for a second before replying that her father found it by chance, many years ago. Seeing Subai's obvious interest, Teacher Li handed him the stone and begged to, "Please, just protect her students." Inspecting it closely, Subai confirmed, "This is indeed a product of the immortal realm. The quality isn't low either. The spiritual power inside, it's on par with a top-grade spiritual stone." But what puzzled him was, how did something like this end up in this world? Could it be that his and Lin Wangqiu's rebirth here wasn't a coincidence? If that's true, then maybe his other disciples are here too. Just then, the system detected the spiritual stone and prompted, "Would you like to use this item to enhance the 10,000 souls banner? Doing so will increase your control level over undead by 1 tier." Subai was stunned. He didn't expect that this spiritual stones can directly upgrade the banner. He made a mental note that he need to collect more of these in the future. He accepted the item and agreed to Teacher Li's request, telling her to wait here and don't run. Meanwhile, the mutated snake demon, enraged after being attacked by Subai's mutated zombie, roared, "How dare you steal from me!" It charged straight at Subai, intending to kill and refine him to boost its own cultivation. But Subai had already begun absorbing the spiritual stone's energy. He commanded his zombie to block it and don't let it get close. The zombie charged in, but the mutated snake demon dodged easily. Grabbing the zombie, it slammed him into a nearby wall. Then it noticed something. Subai's aura. It was rapidly growing stronger. He was breaking through. The snake demon growled in panic. "If I don't stop him now, it'll be a problem later. But before that, I need to squash this bug. It punched Subai's zombie, sending him flying out of the building. Now, rid of the distraction, the demon laughed and charged towards Subai. But just as it approached, its entire body froze. A primal fear surged up, warning it. Danger, Subai smiled, his body glowing with spiritual light. My 10,000 souls banner needs a foundation beast for sacrifice, he said calmly. And that's you. The mutated snake demon was stunned. Ask what is happening. Suddenly, Subai's mutated zombie, now evolved from ordinary class to evolutionary class, returned. Towering over the snake demon, it grabbed the creature by the neck. Subai gave the command it to kill him. The zombie stabbed its sharp claws into the demon's chest, piercing clean through. Then it lifted the demon into the air and hurled it across the building. But just before falling, the mutated demon clung to the edge and caught itself. Breathing heavily, it realized that it underestimated Subai. It didn't expect him to break through mid-battle. Still, it wasn't ready to give up. He roared that, "It's not enough to defeat me." And with wild rage, it let out a piercing cry, summoning the nearby zombies to swarm in and help it kill these humans. Just then, Li Mingxuan transformed into a half-human, half-snake demon and killed both of his friends. The other students were shocked to see Li Mingxuan slaughter his fellow classmates. One of the students cried out, "Why would he do this?" Li Mingxuan smirked and replied with a chilling grin that he have tolerated all of them long enough. He smiled and asked that, "Doesn't it feel good to be betrayed?" He turned toward the remaining students and charged at them, intent on killing everyone. The students screamed and scattered, desperately trying to escape. Some even begged, "Li Mingxuan, please, let us go, spare our lives." But he didn't listen. He was enjoying the feeling of ruling over mere ants. Seeing this horrifying massacre, Teacher Li collapsed to the ground, her voice trembling. Why did it end up like this? Terrified, Lin Wangqiu turned to Subai and asked, "What happened to Li Mingxuan?" Subai simply smiled. He didn't expect to see a human willingly become a beast's servant, but this development suited him perfectly. The more that die, the better. It saves him the effort. They'll all become part of his 10,000 souls banner eventually. As Li Mingxuan prepared to kill the last student, Teacher Li stepped in and shouted, "Stop! I can't let you go on like this." Li Mingxuan grabbed her by the collar and hissed, "You want to die too? Fine. I'll grant your wish and kill you first." Just as he raised his claws, Subai intervened. He pulled Teacher Li back. Lin Wangqiu told her urgently, "There's no way to appease everyone in this situation. Right now, we need to survive. And the only one who can help us is Mr. Subai." Though Subai didn't care about the others, Teacher Li was a different matter. He needed her alive. If he wanted to find the source of the spiritual stone, she had to lead him there. Subai then unfurled his 10,000 souls banner and began absorbing the souls of all the dead students. Li Mingxuan was stunned. He had waited so long for his master to appear, and now nothing could stop him. He glared at Subai and charged at him, shouting, "You think you can do anything without your monster's protection?" Subai calmly smiled and summoned the very students Li Mingxuan had just killed. Their ghostly forms lunged at him, trying to drag him into the 10,000 souls banner. Li Mingxuan was confused. "How are they alive? I just killed them moments ago." Then he realized, they weren't alive. They were just wandering spirits, reanimated by Subai's power. "There's no time to waste on them," he growled. Meanwhile, the mutated snake demon watched Subai's 10,000 souls banner and scoffed, "You're planning to use that trash weapon on me? Do you think I'm made of mud?" Subai chuckled. "You have no idea who I am, and my 10,000 souls banner still needs a dead soul like you as sacrifice." At the same time, Li Mingxuan managed to partially free himself from the grasp of Subai's zombies and ran toward the mutated snake demon for help. The demon scowled. "Just my luck. I finally meet an immortal cultivator, and he turns out to be a demon cultivator? These puppets he controls are strange and dangerous. If I don't act quickly, I'm in trouble." Although he had already broken through to the Foundation realm, he knew that continuing the fight might end badly. At worst, I won't get any spiritual energy, and I'll die too. Desperate, he grabbed Li Mingxuan and growled, "I gave you power. Now it's time to repay me." Then he hurled Li Mingxuan toward Subai to buy himself some time to escape. But before he could flee, Subai gave the order to attack. His mutated zombie leapt high into the air and came crashing down onto the snake demon, slamming him into the ground. The zombie grabbed the demon and restrained him, locking down all movement. "You're not going anywhere." Just as the mutated snake demon struggled to break free, Subai made his move. He transformed several of his zombies into stone statue form, anchoring them into the demon's limbs, binding its hands and feet so tightly it couldn't move an inch. The demon let out a pained roar, its body shaking violently. Blood oozed from the cracks in its scaled flesh as it cried out in fury and humiliation. "I admit defeat. For today," it hissed, its voice trembling with suppressed rage. "But don't think this is enough to hold me forever." In a desperate move, the demon's main body detached from the larger snake host and fled into the distance like a dark shadow melting into the horizon. Li Mingxuan, who had just barely survived, watched the escape in panic. "Don't leave me behind. I haven't escaped yet." But before he could move, the remaining students, those who had narrowly survived his betrayal, surrounded him, cold hatred burning in their eyes. "Karma always comes back around," one muttered. "You really think you'll walk away after killing so many of us?" Fear flooded Li Mingxuan's eyes as he stumbled back. "Stay away. I'll kill you if you come any closer. I swear." But the crowd no longer feared him. They descended on him without mercy, fists and feet replacing words. Li Mingxuan died the same way he lived, violently and utterly alone. Nearby, Lin Wangqiu turned towards Subai, her voice filled with disbelief. "That monster. We're really just letting it go." Subai only smirked. "It's just a lowly snake demon. Does it really believe it can escape my spiritual sense?" Far away, the mutated snake demon, now free from its bindings, let out a long breath. It had narrowly escaped death, but one question clawed at his mind. Where did that demonic cultivator come from? Then a chilling realization crossed his thoughts. Could he too have been pulled into this world through the chaotic spatial rift? "Just like me," he scoffed. "Doesn't matter. I'm free now. A Foundation establishment cultivator like him, he'll never find me." But he was wrong. Before he could take another step, a shadow fell over him. Subai appeared directly behind him. "Try running again," he said coldly. "Let's see if you can escape my spiritual sense now." Terror flooded the snake demon's expression. His whole body trembled. He could not understand. How did he track me this fast? How strong is his spiritual sense? Subai didn't waste time. He ordered his mutated zombies forward. As the beast tried to flee, lunged in, grabbing the demon's legs and arms, pinning it down. The mutated zombie struck its vital point, sealing its core. The snake demon howled in agony, completely paralyzed. "If I can't live in peace, none of you will," the demon bellowed. He activated his final skill, Serpent Shadow Clone. Dozens of shadowy snake clones burst forth, swarming towards Subai. Laughing, the demon mocked, "Your soul banner is useless now. Once I devour you, your puppets will vanish." But Subai showed no concern. He raised his 10,000 souls banner, calmly scanned the illusions, and in a flash, stabbed the real body. The snake demon gasped. "How did you see through it?" "Not even nascent soul cultivators could." Subai's expression remained unchanged. "If you weren't still useful, I would have shattered your soul already." With that, he unleashed the soul-binding power of the banner. Black tendrils wrapped around the demon's very spirit. "You'll never get me," the demon roared. "I'll destroy my soul before I serve you." In a final act of defiance, it attempted to self-destruct its soul. But once again, it had underestimated Subai. With a single thought, Subai activated his spiritual sense manifestation. His soul form materialized in front of the demon, grabbing and stopping the detonation mid-explosion. The snake demon stared in horror. "That pressure. You're not Foundation establishment," his voice cracked. "Soul formation?" The truth hit him like a blade to the chest. He had offended a soul formation powerhouse. He dropped to his knees, pleading, "Don't kill me. I was wrong." But his pleas fell on deaf ears. The 10,000 souls banner absorbed his soul in its entirety. System notification. "Congratulations. You have slain an evolved level creature. Soul banner has leveled up to level 3. Max controllable souls. 10. New feature unlocked. Enhancement mode. You can now feed spiritual energy-infused objects to your undead souls to boost their strength." Subai stood silently, staring at the faint glow of the soul banner. He was amazed. He hadn't expected that spirit stones could be directly fed to the undead. If that was true, then as long as he had enough stones, he could rapidly forge a powerful undead army. In that case, he thought, gathering spirit stones must become a top priority. Once he gained enough strength to protect himself in this chaotic world, it would be time to visit his loyal little disciples. Meanwhile, back at the university, Teacher Li turned to Lin Wangqiu, her voice laced with concern. "Subai went after that monster. Isn't he in danger?" But Lin Wangqiu replied calmly, "Don't worry. Mr. Subai will be totally fine. A monster like that is no match for him." Teacher Li let out a quiet sigh of relief, but curiosity soon crept into her eyes. "You seem to trust him a lot. He doesn't appear to be a student here. How did you meet him?" Lin Wanqiu hesitated for a moment before speaking. When I ran out of the school during the chaos and was about to be attacked by monsters, he saved me. Her eyes flickered with a strange emotion. When I first met him, I felt something odd, a strange sense of familiarity, like I've seen him before. Just then, Subai returned. Lin Wanqiu ran toward him. Mr. Subai, are you hurt? He pushed her gently aside and replied coldly, a low-level demon like that? There's no way it could hurt me. Then he turned to Teacher Li. Do you know where to get more of those spirit stones? Teacher Li looked apologetic. That one belonged to my father. I don't really know where he found it. If you want answers, you'll have to ask him yourself. Subai narrowed his eyes. She hesitated again, then spoke cautiously. If you truly want to find him, we'll have to make another deal. The last time I spoke with him was 3 days ago. He was trapped somewhere, waiting for rescue. If you want that information, we'll have to find him first. Subai's face darkened. This woman, is she trying to use me to save her father? If the old man had knowledge about spirit stones, it would be worth the time. Fine, he said. I'll go with you, but listen carefully. If I find out you're lying to me, not only will you die, but everyone else will too, including your father. Teacher Li trembled under his gaze but nodded quickly. Understood. I'm sure my father won't disappoint you. She then turned to her surviving students. We're leaving with Mr. Subai. There was a wave of relief among them. They were leaving this nightmare. But not all were so lucky. Many students had died during the chaos. As Subai looked at their bodies, he raised his 10,000 souls banner and summoned their souls. One by one, gasps echoed through the group. The students stared in horror. Even Teacher Li's voice trembled as she asked, "Why are you taking their souls?" Subai turned to her, his expression unreadable. They were going to be wasted otherwise. Now, they reside in the soul banner, my personal puppets. He glanced toward the school gates. Enough talk. Let's go. I don't have time to waste here. Despite the grim nature of it all, Teacher Li bowed slightly. Mr. Subai, if it weren't for you, we'd still be trapped in that classroom. We would have starved or been torn apart by monsters. Subai scoffed. I didn't do this for free. Everyone got what they needed. Now that he had broken through to the Foundation establishment stage, Subai could feel his divine consciousness gradually recovering. He should now be able to retrieve higher-tier artifacts sealed within his soul domain. Without hesitation, he focused, reaching inward, and suddenly, a brilliant sword appeared before him. Subai's eyes widened. Could it really be fate? Lin Wanqiu stared at the sword. Stunned, something stirred in her heart. I feel like I've seen that sword before. Subai turned to her, expression sharpening. Could this be a sign that her memories are returning? He narrowed his eyes. If this girl truly regains her memories and realizes she's fallen into the hands of her former master, a lamb remembering her shepherd, just before the slaughter, he threw the sword onto the ground and looked at her. Hold on to it. Lin Wanqiu blinked in surprise. Me? What do I even do with a sword? Are you asking me to fight monsters? Subai nodded. I won't protect you forever. You need to learn to protect yourself. She hesitated. I've never used a sword before. You'll have to teach me later. As she nervously picked it up, her fingers brushed the blade, and flashes of memory surged through her mind. Moments long buried, of a distant mountain sect, her master Subai, and the day she was tested to become his disciple, the pain of betrayal, and the haunting image of a mysterious senior brother whispering lies to her and her senior sister, lies that turned them against their master. She staggered back slightly, clutching her head. The fragments were blurry, incomplete, but they were returning. That's all for today, everyone. Before we wrap up, I want to let you know that we've recently launched a membership program here, where you can enjoy perks like early access to videos and soon, exclusive content just for members. You'll also receive custom badges and emojis to enhance your interactions. If you're interested, consider joining our membership to enjoy these benefits. Check out the link in the description to join. See you all in the next video.